I always love a good recap of the year, and what better way to look back on the adventures of 2023 than to list my top flights of the year that just passed. Some of them I haven't finished the full videos for yet, so stay tuned for those. Where I have published the full video, I'll include links to those below. Some are on the Flight Radar 24 channel, while others are on this channel. And I'll count down starting with number 8, right up until the number 1 best flight of the year at the end. Coming in at number 8 is TUI Nordic from Stockholm to Sal in Cape Verde on the 787 Dreamliner in extra legroom economy seats. This makes the list because I was kind of dreading the 7-hour economy flight on a leisure airline, and it was actually a great experience in the end. The legroom was good, the food was tasty, the cabin crew were pleasant, and the 787 was lovely to fly on. Cool destination too. Number 7 is Lufthansa's 747-400 from Palma to Frankfurt in upper deck business class. Any chance to fly the 747-400 is exciting, and I love when the Lufthansa group schedules these wide bodies on European flights. I love the upper deck too. It's just such a special place to sit, unlike anything else really, and the views of that classic looking wing and engines were on point. Number 6 is Qatar Airways 787-8 to Harare, Zimbabwe in business class. I always have a great time in Qatar Airways business class, whichever seat I end up with, but this flight mostly makes the list because it was such an adventure to fly down to Harare via Lusaka in Zambia, a part of the world I'd never been to. And Zimbabwe ended up being such a great place to visit, contrary to a lot of what I'd heard about it being a sketchy and potentially dangerous place to go. That couldn't have been further from the truth. At number 5 is Atlantic Airways A320neo on the inaugural service from North America to the Faroe Islands. From departing Stewart Airport in upstate New York for the first time, and by the way, I know some of you will try to say it's not upstate New York, but it is, to flying my first ever transatlantic on an A320neo, to seeing the Faroe Islands for the first time and getting to sit in the jump seat for a low visibility landing, this was such a cool experience. Number 4 is Etihad's inaugural A380 flight after they reactivated the fleet from Abu Dhabi to London in business class. The only problem with this flight was that it was overnight and very short. Etihad has undergone an amazing transformation over the past year or so, adding new cities, bringing back the A380, and really improving its onboard service from the in-flight amenities to the food. Plus now they've got a new business class coming to the 787s and a brand new terminal to fly from in Abu Dhabi. I'm looking forward to checking out both those things as soon as possible in 2024. Number 3 is China Airlines A350 from Amsterdam to Taipei in business class. This was my first time flying China Airlines. The A350 was a dream, the seat and cabin were just lovely, and the 14 hours went by so quickly on this one. I think this was also my longest flight of the year, and landing in Taiwan is always a treat. Number 2 is Asiana Airlines 747-400 from Osaka to Seoul. This was so great to have a second chance to catch the 400 during the year, and I was lucky too because Asiana had just swapped the 747 onto this route the week prior. Plus I got to sit in the old first class section. And number 1, my best flight of the year, Delta's A330neo business suite from LAX to Paris. From the private check-in at LAX to the amazing onboard experience and great service, this was one of my best transatlantic flights of all time. I think Delta have figured out how to remove a lot of the stress from transatlantic travel with this fantastic combination of top-notch ground offering and an industry-leading onboard product with friendly service. Who'd have thought a US airline could pull off the number 1 spot, eh? And that's a wrap. Thanks for coming along on this little recap. I've got plenty more adventures coming up, so make sure to, well, you know what I'm gonna ask, right? And here's to a 2024 full of amazing adventures for all of you. I'm Gabe Leigh.